Fantasy Land. We are Potluck. I am One Ton.
I am Underrated.
And welcome to Sports JunkiesTV.
Hello.
Besides being world famous underground rappers, we are also very knowledgeable in the world of sports, and we're here to share our opinions on the world of sports with you.
I can't wait. Can we get into it? Can we get into this?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. But before we get started, I gotta let you know, I love the San Diego Chargers. I love the Los Angeles Lakers.
As you can see.
I do not try to hide that I'm a homer, so I will have a slanted opinion on everything coming out of San Diego or California in general. And I'm also a very, very, very competitive fantasy football player. I've created the best fantasy football league in the world, and I am a 3-time champion.
I am Underrated, as I told you before, and I am an avid fan of the Portland Trailblazers and the Cincinnati Bengals, and we haven't won in a long time. So I move over to fantasy football with this kid over here, and as he said he was a 3-time champion, I'm actually a 7-time champion. 7 minus 3 is 4. That means I have 4 more wins than this man. Now we'll move on to some sports, some topics. We're going to get into that?
Let's get into that.
Let's go.
The first topic we are going to get into today is the NBA MVP race. It is a very tight one. There is a lot of qualified candidates. Underrated. I need to hear your top 3 candidates for the NBA MVP. Explain yourself and why you think so.
All right. Top 3. I'm going to go LeBron James, James Harden, Steph Curry, and Russell Westbrook. A close 3 tie. So I got to do 4.
4?
I'm going to do 4. Number 1, LeBron James. I know people probably aren't going to like that, but for me, LeBron James is still LeBron James, and he's not having his statistical LeBron James year, but he's still taking a brand new team that I think are actually going to win the whole thing with him because of him, of course. So I got to give him the MVP, because who else can you give it to? If you go next, you go James Harden. He's good. And he's done great, and he brought the Rockets up there, but I just don't think that the Rockets are really a contender.
Beard gang!
And the beard is tremendous, but
beard gang!
You don't get points for the beard. So we're gonna move on. The
Look
third
good,
one
play
to me,
good.
This guy will not let me get my third one out, is actually Steph Curry. And he's playing great, of course. He's putting up points. His 3-pointers are ridiculous. I really like Steph Curry, but I'm going LeBron first. I just have to leave LeBron there, and Russell Westbrook definitely deserves. He's going off, but they don't really have a chance. So I don't put him number 1 or number 2 or number 3. But I got 4. How you like that?
Well, I did say the top 3, and you mentioned top 4. I thought you were very good at counting, considering you are a very acute and very distinctive and very keen accountant with your Jewish money. I thought you would know the difference between 4 and 3. But I can name my own top 3.
Racist comment 1.
Hey, I'm not racist. I just generalize. I find it makes life a whole lot easier.
Racist comment 2. Can we get to a top 3 already?
Okay, my NBA MVP top 3, because I can count, I can name a top 3. We'll start with number 3 first. We'll work our way up. Number 3 is Russell Westbrook, California represent. Top 5 in the league in points, assists, and steals. Kevin Durant been out for most of the season. Serge Ibaka been out. The team is in shambles, yet he still balls and represents California to the fullest. So Russell Westbrook coming in at number 3. Number 2, Beard Gang, Beard Gang, Beard Gang, James Harden, baby. He's making up for that horrible Dwight Howard who's letting Houston down, just like he let down the Lakers and ran out of town because he couldn't live up to the hype of being a Los Angeles Lakers center, and now he's trying to hide in Houston and not even help James Harden being injured and soft like he is. So that's why I rank him almost number 1, but I'll give James Harden, Beard Gang, number 2. He has to make up for just the straight softness of Dwight Howard and still has one of the best teams in the NBA. And he's top 5 in points. And he's top 5 in steals, and people disrespect his defensive capabilities, but he is top 5 in steals. And we have to go with number 1 in the NBA MVP race is definitely Stephen Curry. Number 1, best team, best player, most threes ever in the entire NBA season history of the NBA. Yes, that is a fact.
And California again.
And representing California, of course, the Golden State Warriors. Best player, best team, that's what it always is. Steph Curry, number 1 NBA MVP. Since this is a sports and a music show, we have to always represent for the ballers and the rappers. So out there's some people that ball that you don't know can rap, and some people that rap that you don't know can ball. Underrated, please tell us about one of these individuals.
Well, I've actually very recently found out that one of my favorite players in the NBA and also plays for my favorite team, the Portland Trail Blazers, Damian Lillard.
Weber State.
And Oakland as well, representing California. Damian Lillard is a beast on the microphone. Now you know. If you don't know, Damian Lillard is the best NBA player ever to rap. Damian Lillard is the best rapper to ever play professional sports. I'll put that.
Whoa!
I'll put it. I've never seen anyone better.
Whoa.
I haven't. Who would you say before this? Shaquille O'Neal? He was a good rapper. Let's not forget. But who else do you think about?
Def Jeff wrote most of the lyrics for those people out there who don't know.
Damian Lillard wrote his own lyrics. You could just see it.
Okay. Well, do we have a clip of this? Can we show the people? Is there a clip of proof of his amazing MC skills?
I think we actually do have one. We can dig up one.
Let's go to the clip. Let's go to the clip, and you be the judge out there. Let's go to the clip.
They'll be the judge. Watch.
I rap for fun, but I'm an NBA player. I play basketball. The Trailblazers. Yeah. Try to keep my hustle going. Meantime, my cake is gaining hype. It be to the streets. I want to know my people safe. Probably need a lawyer, toss some bread and watch them beat the case. Old heads be showing love and sipping on some E&J. I love the town, but always find myself playing keep away. Hard to never change. I'm a product of these Oakland streets, slapping hands and throwing deuces, only dimes approaching me. Had the game slow cooked, so ain't nobody coaching me. Seen a lot of shit, but we don't talk about it openly. Hoop was my escape from falling through the cracks, nigga. Made it to the show and I ain't never tried to act bigger. It's your turn now.
Underrated.
Yes.
You might be right about that.
I told you already.
That boy got flow.
I'm not very adamant about many things, but that in particular, wow.
Where'd you say he was from again?
Well, he's straight out of Oakland.
California?
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm not going to apologize for being a California homer. I know sports does exist outside of the world of California, but most of the best players just come from California. Sorry, I didn't decide where they
California problem. Next.
The next topic we're going to get in today is obviously representing Humboldt County, California. We want to get into weed in the current state of sports today and how they're doing testing and suspending players and finding money just for the use of marijuana, and get into the legalization of marijuana, the recreational use and the medical uses of marijuana, and talk about it from a Humboldt County perspective. We are Potluck, and we do have that influenced in our rhymes, so let's talk about it, how it affects sports. Underrated, what do you think about the use of marijuana in the NFL today?
I just think it's weird that you would even need to test for marijuana at this point. What is marijuana doing? It's not a performance-enhancing drug. Obviously, if everyone talks about if you smoke marijuana, you're going to be lazy and you're not going to get anything done. So what dude's going to smoke marijuana and play sports and be better? So why are you even testing for that? It doesn't make sense. I get the steroid test, but marijuana, what is that going to do? If one dude wants to smoke marijuana, smoke marijuana. What the hell's the problem with that?
Marijuana is helping NFL players. It helps with muscle relaxation and recovery. You know, they can take Advil, they can take, Tylenol, all these prescription drugs to help with their body recovery, but they can't take a natural something from the earth.
Doesn't make sense to me.
When a legal citizen can do that?
Free the weed!
Free the weed. Legal citizens in the state of Colorado and Washington right now as we speak can go in and purchase marijuana and legally smoke marijuana, yet the professional football teams in those same states aren't allowed to.
Doesn't make any sense.
There's also countless medical marijuana states that for medical use can go in there and use marijuana, which obviously if you've seen the crazy amount of injuries in the NFL and amount of pain and suffering that those players go through, to test them for marijuana and then not allow them to play and fine them hundreds, thousands of dollars, I just personally don't agree with. Free the weed.
Free the weed. It's for real.
Free the weed. Come on, NFL. This is the 2000s. Get with it. Step up your program and get with it.
Is it me, or did they suspend a player for a whole year last year?
A whole year for smoking
weed?
They actually have players in the NFL that killed a person in the offseason who didn't even get suspended for a year. This is
have
a
a
fact.
player with I'm not going to name any names, but there's a few players that there's domestic violence issues going on. They got a couple games, and the dude who smoked weed got a year. I'm just saying.
It don't seem right.
Free the weed!
Okay, let's get into the NBA Finals. Underrated, tell me who you think's going to the finals and why.
NBA Finals, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers from the East for sure. Not even a question. The East is nothing. And I'm going to go with, it's hard in the West, but I'm going to give it to the Warriors just because I want the Warriors to go.
The smartest thing you said all day. I happen to agree with both of those.
Whoa.
Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James, best player in the league, although he is not the MVP, but best player in the league. And then Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr really got them together. You know, Steph Curry doing his thing. You know, he's the man, so I definitely agree with that.
We agreed.
We actually do agree sometimes. The NFL draft is coming up. We have the top two quarterbacks, Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. Underrated, tell me who you think will be a better pro out of those two quarterbacks.
For me, it's very hard to pick. Winston, most people will say, and I look at Winston and I say, yes, on the field, he may be the bigger talent right now. He may be more pro-ready. But his off-the-field issues and shenanigans have gone too far, in my opinion, and I'm worried the NFL teams at this point, they'll be scared to put them on the team. I would be. You know, Tampa Bay might go for it, but I'm just saying I would be. So if you look at Mariota, he does have talent. His off-the-field issues, there's none. He's the squeakiest, cleanest, nicest person you've ever met in your life, and he's the guy that you want representing your franchise, in my opinion. And I feel like if he goes to the right team, he can actually be NFL ready.
Okay. I will say, I agree with what you're saying about off the field, but it doesn't really affect Jameis Winston on the field and his performance, and it doesn't affect his teammates. He's always been a great leader on any team he's ever been on. He has an undefeated, Heisman-winning national championship season at Florida State. Last season, he won every game except for one. He's thrown for over 8,000 yards in college, 60-something touchdowns, 65% completions. He's just a winner. Everywhere he's ever been, he's been successful and he's been a winner. So I'm going with famous Jameis, and I hope he goes to Tampa Bay because I feel like Lovie Smith in Tampa Bay can get the best out of famous Jameis. So I'm going to go with Jameis Winston. We also got the Major League Baseball season starting right now. Tell me who you think is going to the World Series and why. Underrated.
As you know, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but I will tell you, I think the Washington Nationals, pretty much, if you say who's going to win, I'm just, at this point, it looks like they're the favorite to go and win. And because their pitching is so amazing, you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they'll get you every time. Nothing, it's nothing.
Pitching in baseball, everyone knows pitching is key. That's how you win a World Series. So everyone who has any dollar is betting on the Nationals. Nationals are number one. And every pundit, everyone's going to say the Nationals. And I'm not going to all the way disagree because Strasburg, San Diego represent, you know, is one of their best pitchers. And so I can't deny that. But I will say, if you're looking for a sleeper, I like the Padres as a sleeper team. Go figure, I like the Padres.
Hey, San Diego.
They replaced their whole outfield. They got Kemp out there in the outfield now. You know, they got one of the best aces in the league. You know what I'm saying? They got a new third baseman. They got the best closer in the National League. I just think that the Padres are a sleeper team. I like their chances as a... I mean, they're probably like the 5th or 6th in odds, but I like their chances of winning the World Series this year, Padres. Underrated.
I know you want to get off baseball, but one thing. Do you personally think that the Padres are good, or do you just have the San Diego blinders on? Because when you're talking, do you really think they can win?
Yes,
or
I
you
do.
Just,
Yes,
I'm
I
from
do.
San Diego,
And
so
I'm not the only one.
representing for San Diego, or you really think that they can win?
I'm not the only one who thinks they can win. I think they're the 6th, maybe 5th team in terms of Vegas odds. So if Vegas and their money and their livelihood is based on it, that must mean that the San Diego Padres have a shot to win the World Series.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
They're just not the number 1 team, so they're a sleeper.
Do you
But
think the Chargers can win the Super Bowl?
I think the Chargers definitely. They have one of the top 6 quarterbacks in the league. Of course they can win the Super Bowl. That's what quarterback wins in the NFL. We're not talking about the NFL. We're talking about baseball.
San Diego and all this. Okay, anyways, let's move on.
You keep trying to switch
Next.
it off baseball
Sorry.
because you don't like baseball, is it? Just admit it. You hate baseball.
I hate baseball. I hate baseball. I was hoping we didn't have to talk about baseball at all. I had to say Washington Nationals. It hurt. I don't even want to say that. I was like,
okay, okay. Let's get on to something that you like then, since you don't want to talk about baseball anymore.
What?
Something you really like talking about.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Bengals. Who do you want to see the Bengals draft this year to help your team? Tell me about the Bengals in the NFL right now. Who you want to see them draft?
I want to see the Bengals get a new wide receiver. If you look at everyone else, what they're trying to say, they think they need offensive lineman or defensive lineman. But I want the Bengals to go wide receiver. Because you look at what they had last year, you look at what happened to them in the playoffs. When they had one receiver injured, A.J. Green, of course, and then they had Marvin Jones get injured. They had their third string receiver, and there was no one there. Andy Dalton had no help whatsoever. We need another receiver, stretch the field, give Dalton some more weapons. We already got the running backs. Let's get a receiver.
Okay, receiver. All right, I can see that. Well, since you're going to talk about the Bengals, that just gives me another excuse to talk about the Chargers, baby. Yes. I think the Chargers in the draft need a running back. You know, there's 2 running backs out there where we pick. We'll probably get our first choice.
Look how happy you are talking about the Chargers. The Chargers is my favorite running back is going to be. Come on, go.
It could be Gordon or it could be Gurley. I personally believe the best ability is availability. And I always see Gurley struggling. He tore out his ACL.
No.
Although I see him performing, when you look, he passes the eye test. He looks in the eye test as a better running back than Gordon. But
he's injured.
He's always getting injured. And I don't want any running back who's going to start their NFL career being injured. So I would like to see the Chargers go with Gordon. That's my pick. San Diego Chargers. Hopefully they get a running back. And it is Melvin Gordon, University of Wisconsin. Okay, underrated. Let's get into the NFL offseason and how that affects the most important gambling way in the history known to mankind, fantasy football. How does the NFL offseason moves affect fantasy football? Tell me a few of the moves that you think and how the new players are going to change in their new team and their stats, and talk about it.
Well, I think the biggest thing that happened as far as fantasy and as far as my fantasy team, but probably a lot of people, Jimmy Graham is a huge fantasy player. The tight ends have really come a long way in fantasy football, and Jimmy Graham going to Seattle could be a crazy thing, because you look at Russell Wilson, you look at Seattle, you look at how they went to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row, you look at how they have everything they need except for some receiver that can be a big receiver, possession receiver for Russell Wilson, where he can go there every time. And we've never seen Russell Wilson with someone like that. So Jimmy Graham is a huge switch. And then what's going to happen to the Saints? And Drew Brees already had an off year last year. So what's going to happen to the Saints? I don't know. Hopefully Brandon Cooks can do something so that fixes them up. You know, I don't know. I'm worried about the Saints this year, but hopefully Drew Brees can be the Drew Brees he was a few years ago.
All right, Jimmy Graham, that's a good one, Jimmy Graham. I think that something that's really going to affect fantasy football is DeMarco Murray moving to the Philadelphia Eagles. First of all, you get DeMarco Murray, who led the NFL in rushing last year. You get him going over with Chip Kelly, offensive mastermind, very innovative in the running game. You know, Philadelphia Eagles with oft-injured, banged-up Darren Sproles and LaShawn McCoy last year still was top 10 in the league in rushing. With DeMarco Murray going there in the one-cut system, how they got there, all their offensive linemen back healthy in Philadelphia. I really like DeMarco Murray. I think DeMarco Murray could lead the NFL in rushing again. I think he'll have more touchdowns. I think he should be the #1 back in the fantasy next year. Maybe even get in the real NFL MVP consideration after putting back-to-back seasons up like that rushing. I think that'll be a big move.
What about injuries, though? Injury concern.
Yeah.
Who would they have after him? I was trying to think.
They have Ryan Matthews after him.
Oh, that's right.
Former San Diego
Another
Charger.
injury concern, but I feel you. 2 injury concerns better than 1.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
What else you got? You got anybody else you think that?
Yeah, I like the move. Andre Johnson going to the Colts.
That's a good one.
I like that one, and people don't talk about that one as much as I think they should, because Andre Johnson had an off year. The Texans haven't been good in a couple years at all. They don't have the quarterback that they used to have, where they used to throw the ball a lot more. And Andre Johnson was putting up 100-catch seasons with 1,500 yards repeatedly as the top 3 receivers for years. And last year he really didn't do that. He's been hurt. But I think over in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck, it could be a whole different thing for Andre Johnson's career and the Colts.
I agree. I think Andre Johnson can definitely do good in Indianapolis. Andrew Luck is a beast. He's the second coming of Peyton Manning, I think, for Indianapolis. They won the football lottery getting those two quarterbacks. And getting that old man in there with game, Andre Johnson, I feel like
it can only help.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton and him, whoa, that's going to be something.
I want to talk about Ndamukong Suh and how that affected the NFL offseason and fantasy football. For those in a real fantasy football league, you have defensive tackle required league so that you play all players just like it's the real NFL. If you're playing defensive teams, you're not playing real fantasy football. So stop telling people you're playing fantasy football.
Fake little baby game.
Yeah, it's like
step up.
It's like saying you're a pothead and you smoke brick weed. It just doesn't work out.
You need defensive players.
Step your fantasy game up and
defensive teams.
Have individual defensive player and defensive tackle required leagues.
Who are you playing this week? Oh, I got Seattle Seahawks. That's my defense. That's stupid. Sorry.
I'll talk about Ndamukong Suh. I think Ndamukong Suh is the best defensive tackle to come into the league since San Diego native Leroy Glover came into the league and dominated fantasy football from the defensive tackle perspective. If you look at what Ndamukong Suh went to the Lions, and in 5 years with the Lions, completely transformed that team. When the 2 years before he got there, they went 0-16, they went 2-14, and then he got there, took them to a top 10 defense, actually a top 5 defense, the Detroit Lions to a top 5 defense, took them to the playoffs twice. We're talking about the Detroit Lions going to the playoffs. So Ndamukong Suh, I think, is one of the most dominant players to enter the NFL, and him moving over to Miami is going to completely change the landscape of Miami's team. It's going to free up the outside. Maybe they can get Deion Jordan coming back with that speed. He was a high pick from a couple years ago. Maybe that'll help get him on track. You know, they got Cameron Wake, who's definitely going to benefit from the double teams down there. And I like to see Ndamukong Suh build on. You know, he has 36 sacks in his 5 years in the league from the defensive tackle position, and that's
impressive.
No other defensive tackle has that. He has, forced fumbles, block kicks, everything you can imagine. And everyone wants to talk about his off the field or his actually on the field concerns of controlling his temper.
They're off the field issues on the field, actually.
But if you really think about it, off the field, whenever he sits down and talks to him, he never had no off-the-field issues. He's never been arrested and had all these problems going on that caused him to get suspended or any of those things like that. His only suspension came with, hey, he's getting a little rough there in the trenches. And, hey, offensive defensive line, it gets rough in the NFL. I don't complain when a defensive tackle that I like gets rough, takes a little too far, throws some punches, kicks a few people, punches someone in the stomach, steps on someone's hand, spits in their face, tries to eye gouge underneath the pile. That's how it works when you play defensive line and offensive line. So I have no problem with how he's acting on the field. And once he got suspended for the 2 games, he hasn't had no problems since then. He realized his line, he went to that, and it's been 2 years straight with no problems. So I like Ndamukong Suh in the offseason going to the Dolphins and completely changing that defensive team and putting up good statistics on his own there because he has a better complement around him and a better team around him.
Fresh start.
Fresh start.
I like that. I like it when a player gets a fresh start like that.
Okay, you don't have to hear just one ton and underrated talk about sports. We're going to have a few special guests on. And the first special guest we're going to have is world famous hip hop writer. He's written for The Source magazine, Hip Hop DX, several books, several other publications all around the world. He's traveled and done articles. If you've read anything in the history of hip hop, I guarantee you've read something from this man. And not only is he a phenomenal writer, he's also has extensive knowledge on the NFL. I'd like to welcome in Soren Baker, and let's have a nice conversation with Soren Baker.
Tell us what you think about this NFL offseason so far, man. What's the biggest move, man, that you see that got made out there, man? What you see? Well, I think there are several that are noteworthy, but the one that is the most striking is the Ndamukong Suh one, going to the Dolphins. We've seen this time and time again in the NFL where these dudes get these monster contracts, and it really just cripples the franchise. The Dolphins, they're a quality squad, but obviously they're not an elite team. And when you're sinking that much into a player who's clearly a difference maker and who's clearly one of the best in the game, that's a wise move in general. But I think, you're putting $60 million guaranteed, I think it was, on the 2. That's a lot of risk that you're putting on a guy that kind of a loose cannon despite his talent. This type of move shows why certain teams are successful and certain teams may not be as successful. That's a big move, man.
Yep, that makes sense. It sounds like, obviously, Soren's into sports for real if you bring up a defensive player as the biggest move. So that totally makes sense. I'm feeling you on that. Let's switch it up to tell us a little bit about the Ravens and how you like the offseason so far, the moves, and what you think they need in the draft. And then explain how the Bengals swept the Ravens last year.
We can get into that. I don't really remember them playing in the second round of the playoffs.
Yes, I knew that was coming. Okay.
You know, the Bengals, they didn't really make it in the playoffs. They made it, but, you know, like the one son said, it's all about availability. And like the second round in the Super Bowls, the Ravens tend to be available for those. It's all good. But that's for the Ravens. So as far as the draft, the Ravens are famous for not drafting for need. They draft for best available. The Ravens also have a lot of, they need some cornerback depth. We'll restock there, and then I also believe, like many others, that they do need some help at outside linebacker. They got a lot of work to do, and they also need tight ends with Owen Daniels' departure and Dennis Pitta's status not really being clear. So they're going to need a tight end as well. So I would say, depending on what happens prior to free agency, I would expect the Ravens to draft a wide receiver, a corner, probably an outside linebacker, and a tight end.
Let's get into this segment I like to call You Think You're Top 10, but I Don't Think So. So, this one is really going to offend this person sitting to the right of me. It's going to damage him to his core. You're going to see the beads of sweat start dripping down his eyebrows. You're going to see him shake and turn red and tirelessly argue me until the pit of disaster when he finds doom and realizes that one of his favorite people of all time actually is not in the top 10. I'm going to throw the name out there. Larry Bird. You're not a top 10 player in the history of the NBA. Underrated, talk about it.
This is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. We've had this conversation not just on this show. We've had this conversation on numerous tours where everyone around us was like, are you still talking about Larry Bird? Yes, over and over. You're saying Larry Bird is not in the top 10 of all time.
Yes,
Larry Bird is not in the top 10.
Yes, I'm saying
May
that.
I read you some statistics?
I want to hear these Larry Bird statistics.
Excuse me. Lifetime career statistics. 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists.
Larry Bird, phenomenal player, still a not top 10.
Arguably the best shooter of all time.
I wouldn't agree with that statement. That's Reggie Miller, California
I'm
representative.
adding that to the top of the list. 3-time champion.
3-time.
12-time All-Star.
Lost to the Lakers several times. That's why he didn't win more.
Beat the Lakers as well, included.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you say? I'll let you say some more ridiculous things, and then I'm
not here to deny Larry Bird, phenomenal player.
This is what I'll say. Well, hold on. I'll let you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But before you do it, I want you to say, we're saying top 10, that means you have 9 better.
Yes, I do.
And that's the ridiculous part. Let's hear him.
When you first bring it up, when you say is Larry Bird a top 10 player, I love Larry Bird. I'm a Larry Bird fan, and when you just bring it up and say that out loud, I want to say, of course Larry Bird's a top 10 player. I love Larry Bird. I am a fan of Larry Bird due to the rivalry with the Lakers. I am a fan of Larry Bird, and I saw him in a championship many times, and I am a fan of Larry Bird. But he is not a top 10 player. Let me be the first to tell you. NBA, the big man matters in the NBA, just like the quarterback matters in the NFL. So let's just say we're coming up with our top 10. We're going to start off by saying there's 6 players who won the genetic lottery. Let's just call it the genetic lottery. That means you were born, you're 7 feet tall, and you're just athletic, and you change the whole scope of the game. So you just being on the floor changes the game. Those people are automatically in the top 10. Those people are Bill Russell, Celtic. I'm a Laker fan, but you can't deny Bill Russell. Kappa, greatest winner of all time.
Okay.
Wilt Chamberlain, also fellow Kappa.
Whatever.
And 20,000 women. 20,000 women. That should
doesn't
make
put you
him
in the top
number 1. 20,000
That doesn't
women.
put you in the
But
top
besides that, 100 points in a game.
He's not better than Larry
He
Bird.
averaged 50. Yes, he
He's not
is.
better than Larry Bird. But you know what? You can still put him in there, and we're not going to get down to 10. So put him in there
Wilt
too.
Chamberlain.
Go ahead.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Fine.
Shaquille O'Neal.
No fucking way.
Hakeem Olajuwon. and Tim Duncan.
Last three.
Those are the
three,
six
not even
players.
close, bro.
Those are the 6 players that won the genetic lottery that are automatically in the top 10. And I just referenced what other NBA players said. When you ask Robert Horry, he's played with Tim Duncan. He's played with Shaquille O'Neal. He's played with Kobe Bryant. He's played with Hakeem Olajuwon. If you ask Robert Horry, 7-time champion, who's the greatest player you ever played with, he quickly says Hakeem Olajuwon.
Let me say something.
Hakeem Olajuwon better than Kobe, better than Shaq, better than Tim Duncan. That means that definitely Hakeem Olajuwon, 2-time NBA champion, is definitely part of the genetic lottery winners. Those 6 that are for sure in the top 10, and you can't take them out because they changed the game.
Okay, blah, 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 blah. This is what the real is.
I told you it was going to hurt his feelings.
This is the real, though.
I told you it was going to hurt
because
his feelings.
He's quoting a few players that were on another team, that was on the same team as him, where I was like, oh yeah, let me give props to my other player. He's the best player that ever played the game. Look, that's what they do all the time.
He was on several teams.
He
could have said Kobe was the best. He could have said Kobe was the best.
Some
he could have
people
said Shaq was the
sometimes
best.
like to say outlandish things so that other people will remember. It happens all the time. Have you ever seen a DJ say the normal person that everyone else says is the best rapper? They always have their other thing. That's what happened with him. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So look, if you look up different places, you might find some ridiculous people saying this person was the best. But no one ever has said Larry Bird is not in the top 10, except you. Nobody.
When you say it out loud, it doesn't sound like it's logical.
When you say it out loud and break it down, it's still not logical at all.
I told you it was going to hurt his
Let me
feelings.
tell you something
Have
great.
you heard him this passionate?
But
He
wait.
won't even let me talk. But wait.
No, but this is a good one.
Look at the beads of sweat.
But look, there's no sweat. Look, this
Look
is
at
a
his
good
face
one.
getting red.
Look, wait. I want to read one for you. You're going to like this one. Tell me if you've ever heard this one. Tell me if you've ever heard this one. Do you like Twitter?
Of course.
Do you know what that bird on Twitter is for? Do you know what that represents?
Please tell me it represents Larry Bird.
His name is Larry from the people who made Twitter. His name is Larry the Bird, after Larry Bird. Now, there's something that we must learn right now that you would like. You like that?
I do.
Can he be in the top 10 for just that?
No.
No.
It's
It's kind of like Wilt Chamberlain getting with 20,000 women. He's
is.
not in the top 10 either.
It is.
No. Can I say one more thing? Look, bro.
Have you seen him this passionate?
Have you ever seen in the world, go on the internet, type top 10 NBA players of all time. Find a list without Larry Bird on it. Find one. Find one and email it to me or send it to Potluck Music, any social network. You will not find one. How can you even say that?
Racist moment number 3. Let me tell you why you won't see that. Because most of the people who report on the NBA are white. So he's the great white hype, just like Tim Tebow.
He said most. I said, can you find one?
Everyone's going to say Larry Bird's in the top 10 because most of the people who report on the NBA are white and they want to have somebody to cheer for.
Everyone's going to say they're in the top 10 because he's in the top 10. You're the only one.
I'm just trying to tell you. He's not better than the 6 people who won the genetic lottery. And let's start talking about people who didn't win the genetic lottery.
He also says Kobe's better than Jordan.
Can we?
Now you understand
why
how
we bring up
crazy
another
he
argument?
is. Because I want them to understand how crazy and ridiculous you are.
We're talking about
that
the top
makes no
10.
sense.
We're talking about the top 10.
He
Can
said
I
the
get into
Chargers
other
are going to
players?
win the Super Bowl.
Why are we talking about the NFL? We're talking about Larry Bird being in the top 10.
Hey.
Can I say the other players besides the 6 big men who won the genetic lottery?
Larry Bird.
Will I be allowed a time to talk now?
No. Larry Bird is 6'9" and shoots like 3-pointers like nobody. He has a career free throw percentage of 89%. That is ridiculous. Larry Bird is a beast. And to put him not in the top 10 offends me and others in this world, and I need to speak for them. You are crazy. I'm done with this.
Am I allowed to
Pick up
talk
my
now?
sheets. I'm just getting a little frustrated.
I
Go ahead.
I try to
Go.
give you fair warning
Go.
out there in the internet world
Go.
and TV land that this topic was really going to
Because
offend
you say
my
ridiculous.
partner.
All the other things weren't as ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
He's sweating.
I quit.
His face is red. He's throwing his notes out into the wilderness. He just doesn't know what to do.
This is over.
He can't believe it.
Quit this show.
The facts are hurting hurting him deep into his
Do
soul.
you have any more to add to Larry Bird?
Besides the 6 people who won the genetic lottery, I'm trying
sorry.
to give
We
you
weren't
10.
even done. I just couldn't
I'm
help
trying
it.
to give you 10.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Besides the 6 people who won the genetic lottery, there's no denying Michael Jordan is better than Larry Bird.
Wow.
There's no denying Kobe Bryant is better than Larry Bird.
There's a lot of denying that.
There's no denying Magic Johnson is better than Larry Bird.
Okay, you have to.
There's no denying LeBron James is better
There's
than
a lot
Larry
of
Bird.
denying that.
Oscar Robinson and Dr. J. There's another 6.
Dr. J is
I'm giving you 12. I've lost count just like you.
What?
I'm
You
giving
didn't
you
give me
not
12.
10 players better
You
than
didn't
Larry
give me
Bird.
12.
I'm giving you
I told
12.
you 7 that didn't even beat him. So just because you name them doesn't mean they're right. They're wrong.
Maybe you can study and learn as much as me. Well, Larry Bird, you think you're in the top 10, but I don't think so.
I'm going to send a tweet
Like I said, you don't just have to hear one ton and underrated talk about sports. Let's bring in our next special guest. He is definitely street certified. Street certified, an OG in the game. Glasses Malone, here to join us and talk about boxing. Because, you know, when you from where Glasses is from, you really got to know about boxing. So let's welcome in Glasses Malone.
With this big fight coming up that we've been waiting for years, this Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, we want to hear what Glasses Malone has to say about the Mayweather-Pacquiao showdown. Okay. Now, Sean, Josh, you guys are the same way the passion I have for boxing, you guys have for football. What happens every time the best defense in the league plays against the best offense in the league? Best defense always wins. Again, I mean, Floyd Mayweather is the best ever because he has the best defense.
Since this is a hip-hop and a sports show, let's get into something that's affecting the hip-hop world and the sports world. It's the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. You're going to get every groupie from Spain to Los Angeles to New York to Brazil to Russia to China converging on Las Vegas for the big fight, Mayweather-Pacquiao. I want to know, underrated, in your opinion, Mayweather-Pacquiao, the sports angle, obviously the hip-hop angle is... that's the spot to be. Everyone's going to try to get photographed, videos. Everyone's going to try to be as close to ringside as possible. But I want to know the actual sports angle of the fight. Who do you think is going to win, Mayweather, Pacquiao? Please let me know.
I honestly think Pacquiao. I knew you're not
This isn't a comedy show. This is a sports show, not a comedy show. I said from the sports angle, who's going to win, underrated?
He talks about this, and he's the host of this, and he introduces everything, and then I say 3 words, and then I can't say. Can I continue?
This is a sports show, not a comedy show. Who's gonna? Let's try this again.
This is it.
On this sports show, who's gonna win, Mayweather, Pacquiao? Go, underrated.
Whatever. Anyways, look, Pacquiao actually, for real. The thing that I like about it the best is the fact that Mayweather has been dodging him this whole time. Now, you might say, no, it hasn't. It's not true. It's not true. But he's been wanting to fight Mayweather for a long time, and I haven't seen anything where Mayweather's. What's the reason and the excuse of why this hasn't happened yet?
Pacquiao's a cheater. He's been on steroids. He's refused to take a steroid test. And Mayweather doesn't want to fight Pacquiao on steroids. Mayweather wants to fight a clean fight and beat him like he's beat.
How does he know he's on steroids?
Because he won't take a steroid test. If he's not on steroids, why won't you take the test?
I don't know. Anyways, let's go on to this other.
Okay, I'm sure you don't know that.
Anyways, look. I'm saying this. Pacquiao actually has, 5 losses, I think? 57-5. And Mayweather is what?
Undefeated.
37 and
47
48.
But yeah, you're right. 48. No. After he beats Pacquiao, he will be 48.
But Mayweather
you said it.
Really
you said it yourself.
Doesn't really have the knockout blow. Would you agree?
Mayweather isn't the strongest puncher in the world, but he's the best defensive fighter in the history of boxing.
He is the best defense. I've heard everyone say that, and I'm not the biggest boxing fan. Like, I'm not into boxing 100%, but I know that I watch other people and what they say, and people that I respect. And a lot of people that I respect say Mayweather is one of the best defensive fighters ever, but he does not have the knockout punch, and he's older, and he's a little bit slower now. Pacquiao has become a better fighter in his later years. He started out as a one-punch, one-handed fighter, and he got his losses in the beginning, right?
He's lost
recently. Would you agree?
He's lost recently.
He has lost. It was
Marquez.
Yeah, but was it just
Marquez.
No, everyone gets knocked out here and there. But he brawls, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying he never really gets to the decision. One time I think he got to decision. One time. So I'm saying, what's going to happen? He's never lost a decision except for one time. So you're saying
those aren't all the way accurate, but I agree. You say Pacquiao, and you think Pacquiao. I mean,
I'm just saying, how do you think that Mayweather is going to just run away the whole time? Because he's obviously not going to knock him out.
I think Mayweather is the best defensive fighter. I think that Mayweather has never lost. So why would you assume he was going to lose to an inferior fighter? He's 47-0. He has 26 knockouts. Pacquiao's been on steroids half of his career. And we're not talking about who's a better person. If we're talking about who's a better person, I love Pacquiao. He's going back to the Philippines. He's pulling up in 5 moving trucks and giving away food in downtown. Pacquiao got his whole family he's taking care of, and he might not have the image of Money Mayweather and flashing his money and buying private jets and getting in fights with T.I. and all those Nelly and all the different things he's doing and have all the drama. Pacquiao might not have all that. He might be a better person if you're talking about who's a good guy. But we're talking about boxing. And when I look at a fighter, I don't care who's a good guy. I want someone who's going to go in the ring and knock someone out or get knocked out or put a whooping on somebody or get a whooping put on him, because it's fighting. And that's what you care about.
Yeah.
I don't care that Mayweather beat up whatever women he beat up and all that, although I think people who beat women are the scum of the earth. I don't care about that because he's a boxer. Though. He's a fighter, and I want him to go in there and fight.
Pacquiao has never been in those type of had those type of issues, right?
Like, who cares?
I'm saying
it's not a good guy contest.
Is a good
it's
guy.
Not man of the year contest. It's a boxing match.
Pacquiao is fighting for the good of the people right now, and he's about to go into the ring and show people like yourself that good will overcome. And watch it occur. And what are you going to say after you pay that $100 to watch that fight?
If good would overcome, Muhammad Ali would be undefeated. But good doesn't always win. Sometimes good loses.
Speaking of, Muhammad Ali actually said he thought Pacquiao was going to win. And Mike Tyson did as well. What do you have to say about that?
They know a lot more about boxing than I do.
Yes, they do.
But I'll let the records speak for themselves. 47-0, 26 knockouts. I like to see Money Mayweather be victorious in Las Vegas over Pacquiao, the cheating steroid user. I would like to see.
Why do you say cheating steroid user after you say women abuser? Like, why do you throw that out? But why steroid user? He's never even been caught using steroids. You're just saying that. Mayweather has, in fact, been accused of hitting 5 different women,
Convicted.
7 different domestic violence charges.
And he's served
you're
time in jail.
saying steroids, and that's never even been proven.
Because steroids actually affects the fight. That's why it's cheating. And what he does outside the ring, I don't care what people do outside the ring if it doesn't.
Pacquiao does, and he's going to show it.
I want my boxer to get knocked out or to knock someone out, put a whooping on someone or get a whooping put on him.
That's what I'm saying.
47-0.
Mayweather doesn't put whoopings on people. That's the whole point.
On his way to the top 50. If you're asking me what I think, I'm going with Money Mayweather. Have you decided to change your mind and get smart, or are you going to continue this comedy charade?
What you said makes so much sense. And now I think Mayweather... Hell no! Hell no.
I would like to welcome you to the Joe Brown, the Life Coach segment.
Ding, ding, ding.
This is where people out there in the internet world can write us on Twitter or Facebook and ask us questions about their life and how it affects hip-hop, smoking, maybe sports, whatever. But really they're asking questions to Joe Brown, the Life Coach. If you have any of our albums, you've heard his fabulous advice on life and how to become a better person.
Brother.
Joe Brown, the Life Coach segment, and let's go to the audience. The first question comes from Universal 420. He says that his live-in girlfriend, so I guess they're not married, his live-in girlfriend is complaining about him smoking marijuana and watching football all Sunday long. Joe Brown, the Life Coach, how would you suggest he solves this issue?
I don't feel sorry for Americans. They're worthless pieces of shit. They get the shit in clean water. 60% of the world doesn't even get to use clean water, much less shit in it.
Joe Brown!
Joe Brown, the Life Coach.
Whoa, buddy.
Once again with fabulous life advice from Joe Brown.
Always so true. That's the best part.
Well, Sports Junkies TV, thank you for joining us. That's just a fabulous way to end with that Joe Brown, the Life Coach segment. We are Potluck. I am One Ton and he is underrated. And you have been watching Sports Junkies TV. And if you want to follow us in the internet world on Twitter and Facebook, we're at Potluck Music. Everywhere in the internet universe, we are at Potluck Music. And if you want to ask us a sports-related question, hashtag Sports Junkies TV. And if you have a life question, hashtag Sports Junkies TV, hashtag Joe Brown, the Life Coach.
Do that.
You can get fabulous advice on your life, or you can get general sports knowledge from 2 underground rappers who like to smoke a little bit. Once again, I'm One Ton, and he is
underrated.
And we are Potluck. Follow us at Potluck Music. Thank you for joining us, Sports Junkies TV.
PPR-IDP. I'm eating chicken wings while I'm cheering on my team. 3 TVs in the living room, I'm going crazy. I'm living in a fantasy on a daily. I check Twitter and the internet for updates. I'm the champ and I gotta keep it that way. No matter what it takes, we gotta get a win. I check my lineup in the morning, then let the games begin. Sunday ticket, I had to get the red zone. All my friends are coming over, yeah, we're all psychos. Screaming at the TV, yelling cuss words. My girl doesn't get it, she's calling us some nerds. I'm like, whatever, just lead me to my team. I gotta focus on coaching, I gotta win the league. I gotta buckle down and be prepared every week. I don't care what people say, this is real life to me.
Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. My lady says I'm crazy, my mama calls me loony. I think I run a football team, it's starting to consume me. I'm looking up my player scores, how many yards to get. I think I need a trade, which team can I bargain with? I'm living in a dream, my team is called the Nightmares. My mission in this game is acquire all the type players. My league lacks integrity, nobody fights fair. And Sunday by the TV, you will see me right there. Before they had it online, before they made a magazine, I was playing online, dominating fantasy. I'm surfing the internet, studying like it's Harvard, drafting all the Chargers in a roster full of ballers. Are you asleep or a bust? A player I can trust. I have to beat my friends, it's not a need, it's a must. And one day LT gonna call my name, James Carey to the Fantasy Football Hall of Fame. Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion.
This next verse goes out to the best fantasy football site in the world, footballguys.com. They got everything you need to help dominate your league. Type in footballguys.com. Yes, indeed, it's the best in the world, and you can take it from me. New articles and podcasts every day of the week. They got the IDP roundtable with John Norton, with matchups of the week to keep my defense scoring. I stab my opponent in the hard light voodoo, with reading the defense in the eyes of the guru. Go to the shark pool, log into the chat room. My favorite's the Audible, Cecil Lammy and Sigmund Bloom. They study all the info, then give you the best guess. A preemptive pickup and a what the heck flex. Now while I'm motorboating on the couch with a candle, I need to check the injured player, so I listen to Gene Bramall. You got a team, here's a word of the wise. You wanna dominate your league? Go to Football Guys.
Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion.
Action. Joe Brown is at it once again. Joe Brown, the life coach.
Do that again, I'm sorry. I didn't do that.
You forgot we were starting with the laugh?
Yeah, and I looked over at him like that.
Okay.
Do it again.
3, 2, 1.
Joe Brown!
Joe Brown, the life coach.
Whoa, buddy.
Once again with fabulous life advice from Joe Brown.
Always
the life
so
coach.
true. That's the best part.
Well, Sports Junkies TV, thank you for joining us. That's just a fabulous way to end with that Joe Brown, the life coach segment. We are Potluck. I am One Ton and he is Underrated. And you have been watching Sports Junkies TV. And if you want to follow us in the internet world on Twitter and Facebook, we're at Potluck Music. Everywhere in the internet universe, we are at Potluck Music. And if you want to ask us a sports-related question, hashtag Sports Junkies TV. And if you have a life question, hashtag Sports Junkies TV, hashtag Joe Brown, the life coach.
Do that.
You can get fabulous advice on your life, or you can get general sports knowledge from 2 underground rappers who like to smoke a little bit. Once again, I'm One Ton, and he is
Underrated.
And we are Potluck. Follow us at Potluck Music. Thank you for joining us, Sports Junkies TV.